man like Jimmy. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my thoughts and opinions on the Destiny 2 beta. Now, just before I begin here, I just want to state that these are my own thoughts and opinions, and I'm not in any way, shape or form on the attack or the defense on behalf of Bungie. This is just how I feel about the Destiny 2 beta and how I feel Destiny 2 will be with reference to that. Now, before I actually get into the meat and potatoes of the review, I just want to say that Bungie have stated that this is an old build and they've already made changes to the game that fall in line with some of the feedback that they've received already. This was a little bit of an issue for me because I always thought that a beta was there to showcase the best that the game could offer in order to entice players, and for me, releasing an old build of a game that you're trying to promote doesn't really make sense in my opinion. Not if you're trying to entice players into the game and get people excited about the game. I mean, I don't see how that was in any way beneficial in order to promote future sales of Destiny 2 and to entice more players to grow the player base in the community. Releasing an old, unupdated version of a beta and then explaining after the beta has been released or once it's finished that this is an older version, I don't get how that in any way, shape or form is beneficial. But obviously Bungie may have their own agendas and they may have seen things which supports their reasons behind doing that. Now, moving on to PvE. PvE, first of all, looks fantastic in comparison to Destiny 1. I mean, Destiny 1's PvE was left much to be desired. I mean, the story was a little bit lackluster. It didn't really have any kind of flow to it or any kind of direction. It was a bit jumpy. There was a couple of storylines that were going on within the main story, and it just seemed a little bit disjointed. Now, for Destiny 2, from what we've seen, which was the Homecoming mission, it did look a lot better. I mean, a lot better. You felt engrossed in the storyline. You felt like you was part of what was going on there. There was a sense of urgency that was created, and it just felt all around fantastic. And you just didn't feel that with Destiny 1. Now, there are a few issues that have apparently been ironed out already, which was the weapon economy, or should I say the ammo economy for power ammo. There was an issue where it didn't spawn as frequently as it should do, and Bungie have already stated that they've addressed this, and also they've addressed the ability cooldown, which was another one of my own gripes. I felt like in PvE the ability cooldown was way too slow, and it was a little bit of an anticlimax because when you did get your super, it didn't really feel like it did much in terms of like forwarding your progression. You just kind of was like, yeah, it's a thing, I get my super, kill a few ads and then I keep it moving. It didn't really feel like it impacted on the overall gameplay. However, PvE on a whole, I feel, has made some fantastic advancements, and from what Bungie have promised us and what I've seen of the first mission and the strike, I feel like PvE is definitely going to deliver. The graphics look fantastic, the gunplay still feels like Destiny, and if they make those improvements on the power ammo economy and the ability cooldown, I feel like PvE will be in an absolutely fantastic place, along with all the story missions and quests and exploration that's been promised. I feel like PvE will definitely keep the player base engaged far longer than it did in Destiny 1. Moving on to PvP. Now, this is where I believe Bungie really need to take a look at how they're going to implement this correctly. Now, overall, the PvP gameplay, I feel, is a lot better than the spam simulator that we had in Destiny 1. The cooldowns on the ability have been significantly reduced, where it means that you have to use your weapons to kill people more times than not, which was not the case in Destiny 1. You can't just stick somebody with a grenade and run off and they're dead. You can't just melee them after shooting them once and kill them. Like, the damage on the melees have been reduced, the grenade damage has been reduced, and the super recharge, which I will talk about a little bit later, has been reduced. So you have to use weapons to kill people, which I think should be the case, especially in a shooter. So yes, in that respect, absolutely fantastic, love it. However, Bungie have tried to orientate the game in a fashion where it's team based, so there's team strategies, team shooting, team tactics. Now, being a solo player and solo queuing for a lot of the time that I do play Crucible, I found this quite frustrating. Now, I'm an average player. I do have friends that I can play with, although it's not frequent as I'd like it to be. And I found it really infuriating at times playing in a team full of randoms against a team that's stacked with players in a fire team. I mean, you have to more or less follow your team members around just to be successful in killing somebody, because you're just running into teams that are communicating, that are just obviously strategizing and all that kind of stuff, and you haven't got the ability to do that. And I found that really disheartening. So I can't initiate any kind of pushes, I can't initiate any kind of plays. I'm literally subject to following my team members around and hope that they actually play the objective, which more times than not didn't happen. Do you know what I mean? It did not happen. I found that infuriating and frustrating at the same time. On top of that, some of the shot registrations with some of the weapons, which I do feel have been balanced fairly significantly. There's a few gripes which I'm sure that they're going to iron out, but I feel like the shot registration could be improved a little bit. A number of times that I was shooting my enemy and it just felt like bullets were just ghosting, just disappearing into nothingness. I felt was a bit of an issue, and I don't know whether that's down to the connection or the actual shot registration itself. It could be a mixture of both. I know there's been a call amongst the community for dedicated servers, and that may be one way of fixing it, but I do believe that the shot registration could be improved. Also, power ammo, or the power weapons should I say, in PvP, at the moment I don't think they're balanced. There's a couple of power weapons that are just not viable options. For example, the sniper rifle. Yes, it was only a low impact one. Yes, it's not the preferred scope and style of sniper that we're used to using, but it was just not viable. I mean, you couldn't shoot the sniper rifle when being shot at. Now I know that's not realistic to be able to snipe people's heads off whilst under fire, but I feel like the flinch is that extreme that it doesn't make it a viable option to use. So then you're reducing the freedom of choice amongst the power weapons. Same with the grenade launcher. I managed to get a couple of kills with the grenade launcher, but the enemies that I killed, or the players that I killed, were already primed, they'd already been damaged. Not once could I just kill a Guardian with a grenade launcher if I hit him point blank, and I feel like that definitely needs to be improved. Yes, the shotgun and the fusion rifle were the standout performers in the beta, but I believe that the rocket launcher, the linear fusion rifle, was just terrible. There's just no point in using it whatsoever, and that obviously needs to be addressed. Maybe up the aim assist, maybe reduce the flinch, but it just was not viable along with the sniper rifle. So that's something that needs to be balanced, most definitely. Also, supercharge time. A number of Destiny YouTubers have actually stated this, and I found it really infuriating. Everybody in the game would more or less generate their super at the same time, which was probably about a minute to a minute and a half before the end of the match, and it meant that you're popping your super in a hurry to get it used before the match ends, and you're not using your super to any kind of tactical advantage, which I find infuriating. And on top of that, the armor that you did get whilst you was in the super was not significant at all. In fact, I would go as far as to say that it's probably easier to kill a Guardian in the super than when they're just shooting at you, because their objective is to get close to you or to get some distance between you and try and use the super ability, and the time that it takes to get killed in the super is not anything significantly different from the time it takes to just get killed normally. So people were getting shot down out of their supers after charging it for the whole match and then just losing it basically, and I found that really infuriating. I mean, it happened to me a couple of times, and I'm thinking to myself, is this it? I've done more or less six or 7 minutes of gameplay, got my super, I'm finally feeling like I'm gonna destroy some enemy guardians, and I pop my super and then instantly just get shot down out of it due to being shot from a distance with a weapon, or just due to the super not being as overwhelming as I hoped it would be. And I feel that's an issue that needs to be addressed. I also feel in particular the Archstrider super needs to be addressed. The hit registration is abysmal, and the nature of it is a little bit underwhelming. Trying to close the gap on enemy guardians whilst getting shot at, but ladies and gentlemen, on a whole, I do feel like the PvP is headed in the right direction. The emphasis on gunplay is really refreshing, and for somebody like myself who's not the best at the game but likes to play the game it was meant to be played, I had a lot more success in Destiny 2's Crucible than I currently do in Destiny 1, and that's based on how the nature of the game has been designed, with the focus on gun skill and shooting your opponent, not ability spam. But ladies and gentlemen, those are my own thoughts and opinions. You may have differing ones, and if you do, let me know in the comment section below your thoughts and feelings on the Destiny 2 beta. I for one enjoy the game. I've pre-ordered it, I will be playing it once it comes out, and I will be making a few more videos on it. So if you do have any opinions that you want to get across to me, be sure to type at me in the comment section. And if you do like this type of content, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Peace.